going on, ladies and gentlemen? So this is a great example showing how my mind has shifted, and this has got to be only a year ago, because I can tell from the background, like I don't know the exact time. I don't see it on my iMovie, or if it's there I can't find it, but I can tell from the background that this is before we moved into this current apartment. You'll hear me say a few things about my mental health during this time, about how I kind of got to being so mentally unwell, really. And then my experience with doctors, experience going to psychologists, and then talking about my meditation and finding true peace. Notice that I say that I come right back to the depression, though. I come right back to suffering. This is a key point I kept missing. I said it myself in the video that there's like a big piece that I'm missing. And that big piece was Jesus Christ. That big piece was God. So I hope anybody who is watching this kind of gets the same kind of kick that I do. Probably not. I don't find myself to be extremely entertaining in these kind of videos, but nevertheless, if you do want to just sit here and listen to what I gotta say, then I really appreciate it. And if you do enjoy it, just give me a like and a subscribe. Let's get to it.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is. I hope you're having a great one. How could a God exist if I felt this awful about myself? It didn't make sense to me. The devil made sense, though, because all that negative stuff in the Bible made sense to my life. I was done with that. That it was just a bunch of fables and stories, and it was honestly ridiculous that people set up their entire livelihoods based around these stories and this piece of literature. It was aggravating me at points. So I started digging. Got a psychologist, psychiatrist, trying to find answers. I wasn't asking questions like, the part of me that I was listening to was convincing me that I was awful and that the world around me is better off without me. This severe depression, and I just wanted answers as to why this is happening. I didn't even care about it stopping at the end of the day. I just needed to understand why. And then once all of the science and the medical professionals and the psychiatrists and psychologists explained how these traumatic events could trigger these bipolar episodes and really set it off in my mid-20s, and it all aligned and made sense. I just got out of a really bad relationship where I wasn't taking any accountability. I got cheated on a lot and I didn't know about it. So I really snapped. And so it all lined up chronologically on the timeline. And yet there was this part of me that just understood that there's a huge piece of all this information that I'm not getting right now. The doctors, their answers have always been to give me pills and medications. I did that in the beginning when I was diagnosed just depressed. And I didn't have depression, I was bipolar. And I understand how doctors and all these medical professionals, they're so constantly busy. They see hundreds of patients, so they don't really, and they go by the book, they go by their experience, they go by what they know and what they've learned in their schooling, because it helps things move quicker and it helps people get their ailments solved faster. This is where I started to lose faith in science because it didn't work for me. All these recommendations, psychologists, therapists, psychiatrists, I knew it was me. I was the problem, but I didn't know what I was or what am I talking to? I sound crazy, but I knew I wasn't. I was too conscious. I was too aware of everything that I was experiencing and what I was going through. I would just have these spells. And so I would just self-medicate because I'm like, being high and getting drunk helps me slow down at least. All these other pills they were giving me, even like Klonopins and shit, my tolerance would get so crazy high. Nothing worked. My mind was sick. Because when I tell you guys, I have had some awful thoughts, awful dreams, things I don't even want to speak about. And they're prompted out of nothing. But my spirit was fine. But it was like this big, this self-awareness I have. And it's watching all of this chaos. Doctors and scientists, it's just a bunch of men and women who are sharing their data, sharing their ideas. Everybody getting together and agreeing, then they publish it. So now other scientists out there and new scientists can take this newfound data and these newfound facts and build on them. So science is obviously very, very efficient and works very well. But the way that it's simply made up is so concrete and so structurally put together. When every single one of us has experienced life and understand that nothing about life experience is concrete and put together in some form of structure. It's spontaneous, it's seemingly alive in itself because of how random certain things seem to be. There's a part inside of our head that can comprehend a different level to this. We feel, we think, our mind and our body. We don't have control over those. We feel trapped in our bodies. We feel trapped in our heads. I know I always feel trapped in my head. But who's listening to all of your crazy thoughts? Who's listening to you say you ain't shit? You can't do this. You always mess up. You're never gonna make them happy. Why would anybody like you? You don't like you. Who's listening to that? The real you. This is what's listening to you, taking your own advice or disregarding your own advice. The self. You don't know you. Because everything's in motion and everything's on go. We're so competitive. We're just trying to one up one another. We just need to make more than one. We need to be better than everybody else. It's all very like anti-community. And the part that's wonderful about the spirit is if you could picture it in your head, where there's the body, there's the mind, and then there's the spirit, right? And let's say you live in your body, meaning that you honestly just go by impulse. It's almost very primitive how you act and react. You do things to do things. You chase how it feels. You chase feelings. You chase pleasures. You can think about why this is a bad idea, but if your body knows it's going to feel good, you'll go that way. This is addiction I'm speaking of. This primitive state of being. You live in your body through your senses. Then you raise your consciousness a bit and you get to your head. Now your perspective is a little higher. Now you can actually think. And all thoughts is all that data you've collected throughout your life, all your experiences and all your memories, just recycling itself and piecing together new ideas. That's all thoughts are. They're not real. You're consciously using your brain, consciously using your mind. You're upstairs at that point. That's it. And if you don't take care of your body, it's going to affect your mind. If you don't eat right, if you don't exercise, if you don't sleep long enough, if you don't drink enough water, if you smoke too much, any of these things are going to affect your mentality. It's going to affect your brain. It's going to affect how your brain works. And if that's the case, it's going to cause mental illness, mental ailments. You'll fall ill. You'll get sick. You'll start to be depressed. You'll start getting paranoid. You'll get anxious. You'll be overwhelmed. You won't know how to handle any of your emotions. You'll be angry. You'll be lashing out because you're mentally ill. You're mentally sick. And if you're mentally ill and you're consciously aware of your illness, you're only going to breathe that negative energy because you're going to be aware that you're sick. And it's going to feel like it's the end of the world, like you're stuck and you're trapped and there's no hope. And you're only going to manifest this negative vibe. Now, if you take care of your body, you take care of your mind with meditation, get all the thoughts out of your head, slow down, take a breath. You could take yourself from the mind and move your consciousness to spirit. This is why I keep putting it above my head. It's to give you a visual that your soul and your spirit will have the best perspective. This mystic yogi, Sadhguru, made a very wonderful comparison in one of his videos. He said, when you're in traffic, it's the worst thing in the world, especially when it's nighttime, because you just want to go home. But if you're in an airplane and you're looking down at traffic, it's beautiful. It's your perspective. It's your vantage point. But we make the choice on where we're sitting by what you care about, what you're thinking about. If you can move your consciousness to spirit, things become so clear and you're looking at life almost through a different set of eyes than your body and your mind. You see the simplicity again. And the only reason I'm saying this with such conviction is because I've actually been there. Everything I just said, all those negative ailments, all those sicknesses, that's really me. But I've found peace before. And I'm now at a place where I'm struggling to keep the toxic thoughts and toxic ideas and all these bad things out of my head, trying to keep the negativity out. I just think that if I had somebody doing what I'm doing, maybe it would help you make the right choices. Maybe it would help you, say yes once in a while. Maybe it would help you say no to something you know you shouldn't be doing. Your thoughts are only thoughts. They're not real. And if you're somebody who prides yourself on your own experience and your own identity, who you are, how you think, and your intelligence, that means everything that you think about, you're going to believe it. So if you think negative, you're going to believe it. It will be true. It will manifest. You can't take yourself that serious. A lot of us do because we live through the ego. We don't live through the self. We live through the mind and the body. We don't live through our spirit. We don't live through the soul. We don't live life. We live our life. Everybody's selfish. Everybody's for themselves. We're all stuck in our bodies. We're all stuck in our brain. And things aren't good right now. We're looking for comfort. So we're trying to silence the evil. We're trying to point it out and call it out. We're looking for that person. We're looking for that group. Everybody wants to find their safe space. You are your safe space. This is your safe space. We've lost sight and we got stuck We're trapped. I know I am. Like, I've been struggling for a while. If this is relatable for you in any way, then like and subscribe, because I'm going to keep dropping more content. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay elevated, stay positive, know yourself. Have a good one.